historical context. 1967, they instituted the Paul D. O'Keefe Memorial Fiddle Competition, and Mikey Duggan won it that year, the first year, and I was lucky enough to win it in 1968, the following year. And also at the Fairly Kyold that year, and I came across the cutting on the on papers of the time. The accordion competition was won by a John Daly from Kanturk, Mudwinner here. So we go back that far to 1968. That's the middle of the last century for those of you who. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. I won't stay too long at this speechifying, but there are a few things I'd like to say nonetheless. I'm glad to see that the Kenmare taxi and bus service has arrived, so welcome to you all. This event started, the first one was in 2013, am I right, PJ?
Yeah.
So this is, depending on how you count your arithmetic, this is either the 10th year or the 11th year since then, and of course COVID has intervened, but COVID didn't stop this wonderful event from taking place. And I'd like to acknowledge the huge work being done in this regard, and indeed the thing that spawned from it, like handed down and so on, done by PJ Tehan here. Aided and abetted, no doubt, by Siobhan, wherever she's around there, and his sister Liz, who's taking the photographs, and indeed various other members on the committee as well. I think they deserve a great debt of gratitude. As to the pub here where we are, Lyons, this featured greatly in the annals of our music, and you can see up on the wall there the photograph of Paul D. O'Keefe. Paul D. O'Keefe was a frequent visitor to this establishment when Paul D. was alive, and indeed Seamus Ennis has written about and talked about on radio programmes about visiting Paul D. and meeting Paul D. here in this very establishment, and then leaving from here, going back to Paul D.'s house up at Longtown Cross. So it's a very significant place in our tradition from that point of view. Also, I remember talking to Paddy Cronin on one occasion, and I have a video interview of Paddy talking about coming over here. Paddy and Dennis Murphy used to come over here to meet Paul D. O'Keefe. And I think it's tantalising to think of the wonderful music which emanated from the walls of this pub when you had Paul D. O'Keefe and his two-star pupils, Paddy Cronin and Dennis Murphy. Absolutely wonderful to think about it. And of course, in that triumvirate of people that I mentioned, I cannot exclude Julia Clifford, who played such a huge part in the music of this locality, even though she spent most of her life living in England. And I don't know if any or many of you know that in Knocknagree, if on your way home, go down through Knocknagree, a memorial bench has been installed in memory of Julia Clifford, and it has a QR code thing, and if you point your phone at it, it will bring you to some YouTube links, and it's situated such that you can look up at the Paps. It's a wonderful location, and people wonder why that was selected. In her later life, Julia used to, when she came home and the family house in Lachine was no more, Julia used to stay in a house not far from Dan Connell's pub, and in a way that became a second home for her in that period of her life. So I think it's fitting to have it located there. And on Friday the 16th of June, 6 o'clock in Knocknagree, and you're all invited, this bench is going to be officially launched, so to speak. Now you might have to put up with me talking again, but also there will be Billy Clifford. Billy has asked me to pass on this information, and there's an open invitation to everybody to turn up there. Knocknagree, Friday the 16th of June at 6 o'clock. This thing that I'm holding in my hand here, some people might say it's a beautiful, wonderful instrument and so on. From another perspective, it's just a bit of timber, and pieces of metal strung together in a particular way. And I suppose it's a wonderful transition that in the hands of humans like ourselves, that this is can become an object of great beauty to look at, but even more to the point, an object that produces great beauty for us to listen and to hear. And it's been doing this for, not this particular one, but it's been doing this for in excess of 300 years. So we're part of a great tradition in that wider sense of producing music, making music, creating music in real time, so to speak. And it's something that we can do, each of us, in the communally, like we're doing here, but we can also do in the privacy of our own homes, and playing for ourselves. In a way, it can be very exhilarating too. And most of us here are, I speak for people at this end of the table, we at home, you know, the fiddle is either hanging on the wall, or the fiddle case is open, or the accordion case, or whatever as the case may be. And sorry about the pun there. And sorry?
As the case may be.
Yeah, indeed. And so I suppose what I'm getting at really is exhorting young people that you don't have to play the fiddle always in big sessions, in pubs and so on. The most intimate music and the nicest music you'll do is at home for yourself, and indeed for the folks at home as well, maybe other members of your family. So don't forget that. And in a way, the challenge for all of us, young and old, is to make this thing produce the nicest and most beautiful music that we can. And beauty manifests itself in many ways. It can be rhythm, tempo, groove, swing, sound, quality, lonesomeness, and feelings of high feelings and low feelings, and so on. So we're privileged, I suppose, to be part of this big tradition, and in our own place here then it's a very local, strong tradition as well. And the best music for the local people here, all of us, to play is our own local music, so to speak. Okay. I'd like to remember a few people as we're going, people who have left us in the past year. In the late 1980s or early 90s, I can't remember exactly when, I was on a train coming down from Dublin one Sunday night, and also on the same train happened to be Connie O'Connell and Jimmy Doyle, and they had been up for the weekend recording a tape, as it was then, with Seamus McMahon for Cotas Cotori and Ceolga Maiden was the name of the recording. Very few people have it now, but it's a lovely recording. But anyway, when we established that Connie, Jimmy and myself were on the train, we played from Kingsbridge as far as Mallow. And at Mallow they had to change trains to take the train to Killarney and Tralee, and I continued on to Cork. Now, I've met Jimmy Doyle many times, and I've had many tunes with him in Ballyvoon and Killarney and various other places. But that one night, the night on the train, stands out in my memory as an absolute high point. We had a great journey. The journey appeared to last only about 5 minutes. That's probably 5 hours, given the speed of the trains at the time. But I have great joyful memories, so to speak, of Jimmy Doyle and his passing. We are all saddened at his passing, but he's the man who left a really vibrant, happy, strong legacy of music, and indeed in his personality as well. Maybe 15 or 20 years ago, Jackie and myself were invited by Gaelin to play a concert in their Bewley's concert series. You know that series, Paddy, in Bewley's Cafe. There's a kind of little theatre upstairs in Grafton Street, and we went up and we played. But also on the concert that night was a girl that I had not met before, but I'd heard her singing on the radio, and I was really taken by it, and that was Nullig Ní Léire. I thought her singing that night was absolutely wonderful, and I had a great recollection of it. wind on the clock to a few years later, and I met her here along with her brother Donald O'Leary, or Donald O'Leary, connected with Ramor and friends of the waver and of the music of this locality. And I got to meet Donald then here every year when we came to World Fiddle Day, and indeed on other occasions at Milltown, Malbay, Willie Clancy School, and so on. Sadly, Donald passed away not too long ago, so we'd like to remember another man who made a great impact on the people that he met, and would be here in the middle of the session were he here today. So we'd like to remember Donald. And finally, a man we lost last week, a great champion of fiddle playing in the widest sense, and that's the late Sean Keane. Now, many of you will know Sean Keane from his playing with the Chieftains, but behind all of that, Sean was a huge repository of tunes and fiddle information, and he himself spent a lot of time studying, for want of a better word, and informing himself on the different styles of music and the different aspects of music, including the music of this locality. And some years ago, Jackie and myself again were invited to play in Rathcoole Library as part of a series of concerts that they were running. And of course Sean turned up on the night, because that's where he lived, in Rathcoole, and he had a fiddle with him, and we had a great chat at the intermission, and he played most of the second half with us, and most of the material we played was tunes. He had a particular fondness that night for Julia Clifford. He spoke a lot about Julia that particular night, and we played a lot of the tunes that you'll hear today. And listen to Sean Keane play them, you'd think that he spent all his life down here. Such was the man that he got inside the particular aspects of the music. So we'd like to remember Sean as well. The first tune that I ever heard Sean Keane, the first tune from this locality that I heard Sean Keane playing, was that slide. It's a well-known slide, but I can hear it clearly in my mind, Sean Keane's rendition of that the first time that I heard him playing that. And of course, many of us here call that Dennis Murphy's slide, and of course it was recorded not only by Dennis but by the great Paddy Cronin in on the 1949 recording. We were talking about that too last night. So all these things are, as we say in the Irish language, are fitte footed. They're all interweaved and intertwined in each other, and so on. So as we launch this year's festival, as we push forward to the future, we look to the past for our inspiration and for our tunes and for our style of music, but we launch it, we carry it forward with us, and while we put our own stamp on it, we're still putting our stamp on something which is very firmly rooted. That is not to say that as we are going, new elements are not created as we're going forward. And I'd like to ask my two colleagues here, Jackie and Paul the Grey, to play a slow tune with me. It's a tune that Jackie composed. We played it at the concert last night. It's called Sliabh Luachra. So it's a slow tune, and with this we can remember the people who have passed that I mentioned, but also maybe think in terms of this is a sign of hope for the future and the spirit of the future as we move forward, making great music with this wonderful instrument.